Let's get into it. Hello, YouTube. Axiom here once again, and I have just watched episodes 5 and 6 of Disney Plus's Daredevil Born Again. And what happened? What the hell happened? I I was anticipating a two-part series because we started off with a two episode drop, which kind of makes sense because the series just started. It's anticipated. There's a lot of excitement in the air, electricity. So I get that. But then all of a sudden, I said this in another video. I saw the schedule and the way it was going to be released. So when I saw the 5 and 6 episodes, especially because episode 4 revealed spoilers. Frank Castle's Punisher, John Bernthal, showed up. I'm going to touch a little bit on that here in a bit, but I was expecting episodes 5 and 6 because they were being dropped on the same day, right? Not just one episode per week, but two that day. That was going to be some kind of a two-parter. Boy, was I wrong. Not only was it anything like that, I don't know what the hell happened with these two episodes. Well, let me start with episode 5 and then I'll get into episode 6. I'm going to be all over the place here, ladies and gents, but let's get into it. First and foremost, the story is all over the place. I don't know what's going on here. As I mentioned, I thought this was going to be a two-parter, right? You get the first part, second part. That's why they're releasing them in order like that, 2 in 1. It had nothing to do with it. I understand that was an assumption that I made. I don't think I'm alone out there in the nerd world and the geek world to think that because they were dropping them together, that there was something to that. So it's almost like a safe bet. We all thought like that maybe something was going to happen here, a two-parter. So I thought it was a safe assumption to make. Nothing is farther from the truth. Neither episode have had anything to do with the other. So it was just asinine that it was delivered that way. I don't know what they were doing. The story, much like comic books, episode 5 was like a one-off, like a offshoot. So you have the regular storyline in any given character, Daredevil, Batman, whoever it may be. You have the regular story. And then a lot of times they tell, writers, artists, they tell an offshoot story. Sometimes it becomes canon and it mingles with the regular story. And other times it's just a one-off. You don't like it, fine. It doesn't affect the story. All right. So episode 5 was like a one-off where Daredevil takes place in a bank heist. Right. It's a very isolated incident, which brings me to my next kind of gripe. Episode 5 felt like just a massive Miss Marvel plugin. I don't have a problem with cameos and mixing. Obviously, this is a huge universe, not just the Marvel universe, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I get that. I don't have a problem with that. My homie Locks, we call him Locks, he said it the best. The Miss Marvel drops were very heavy-handed. Heavy-handed. That was the term. When I heard, when we spoke and he said that, perfect take on it. Heavy-handed. Yeah, it was just so, okay, we only needed to hear the cameo once. Twice would have been pushing it, but I would have accepted it. No, we heard it like, he kept saying it, and then even at the end of this episode, I was like, all right, how many times do we have to be reminded that this is Miss Marvel's dad? I don't get it. Back to the one-off thing. It's done in comics all the time, ladies and gents. If you don't read comics, that's okay. Well, you should. But these one-offs are done all the time. But then why do it like this? Why do a two-parter release on the same night if they're not connected? If literally episode 5 is a one-off style comic episode, it doesn't make any sense. And then the story, this is supposed to be a cohesive long story a la Netflix series, right? So we have 9 episodes in this first part, and then we have another 9 episodes that are currently filming for the second part of this story. Filler episodes, if you will. I get those. Like it's a one shot, like the comic thing I just mentioned. But the tone doesn't make any sense, because this particular episode 5, is almost like it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be lighthearted. At least that's my take on it. It's not supposed to be. The Irish bank robbers are robbing a bank on St. Paddy's Day. It's supposed to be a serious situation. We've seen these situations in comic book movies, even. The Dark Knight starts that way with Heath Ledger's Joker revealing himself. It's a very serious situation. All kinds of other bank robbery situations come to mind in movies, right? Reservoir Dogs, great film about a bank robbery. Yet this is treated, this bank robbery is treated like it's supposed to be funny, which I don't understand. And this is what I mean by that. Kamala Khan's father, he is in the vault with one of the robbers, and he's saying things like, I can't open the vault because can I have a snack? Can I get a banana? Seriously? Like, I get that he was stalling for time. He's stalling. But the writers couldn't think of anything better than that? Really? And I know he's in character. I get that. And I appreciate that he's still remaining the same character that he was in the Miss Marvel show. But that doesn't excuse the fact that, what is this? They were doing this for Luca, one of the head of the mob bosses, right, in New York. So that's their team. And if I'm that guy, and this guy is telling me, yo, can I get a snack before I open the vault? I would have grabbed the rifle and just butted him right in the nose, blood splashing everywhere. It's not the way the situation would ever play out. I was watching it like, what? And even Matt Murdock, for that matter, his snarkiness in that situation. I need to use a restroom. I'm still going to stand up. Hey, exchange me for that, for that hostage. It doesn't feel like, there's no intensity in it. There's no, like, I just felt like it was one big, like, kind of like, we're supposed to laugh at how, like, the levity was not supposed to be there. There's intense situations, and sometimes characters, provide levity to the situation. This wasn't it. It just didn't feel like it. It just felt like, how can I take this seriously when the situation itself isn't taking itself? There's a part in the whole hostage situation where the negotiator, a police negotiator, has to come up with a joke. There's a scene where she's asking the SWAT team around her, anybody know any jokes? Come on now. Really? I don't understand. I didn't understand what I was watching. Do those things happen? Can those things happen in real life situations? Maybe. But why are you using your resources and time on television and your minutes, and why are you using it to show us that part of it? It doesn't make any sense. I'm just like, why am I watching the negotiator try to come up with the joke and then tell the joke, the full joke? I don't get it. I'm sorry, but I don't get it. One of the biggest problems that I've noticed is the reshoot issue. If you haven't been paying attention or if you haven't been following along, I follow this very, very deeply. And if you don't, that's okay. That's why you watch my channel, hopefully. But there's been plenty of reshoots. There's this whole thing where there was 4 full episodes already completed, and they just scratched them. They said like, nope, we're not doing this. We're not doing any of this. We're gonna start from scratch, and that's it. I thought that was a good thing. I actually thought that was a good thing because I wasn't too happy with the current Marvel stuff that was coming out on television and in movies, not necessarily in comics. So that's a whole other issue. So I thought that's what they were doing, cleaning house, so to speak, and let's just start from scratch. Let's tell a better story. But reshoots are obviously, now after watching episodes 5 and 6, are obviously an issue here because you can tell that there were reshoots here because a lot of the story just doesn't make sense. I'm very forgiving when it comes to certain things, but when you cross the line where even a fan like me is just like, what? Really? You're messing up. Marvel, you're messing up. How did he find Frank Castle in episode 4? How did he just find Muse in episode 6? And the biggest problem that I had with these 2 episodes is something that I always have a problem with, no matter the property, the IP, the film, the movie, the whatever it is what I call. I don't think I coined this phrase or anything, but I call it self-awareness writing. Self-awareness. I've seen a lot of YouTubers and other people use this as a critique. And I am 100% on board with said critique. And here it is. Self-awareness writing is when the writers and what you're watching, the audience, the audience, we know that a character or a plot is important because we know. But then for some reason, so do the characters in the show or in the movie. They also know that someone's important, or that. How would they know? Like, why are they? There's no reason for them to be acting the way they're acting within the world that they're taking part of. Like, we as an audience know something, but they shouldn't. That drives me crazy. And that's exactly the problem here. What I mentioned earlier about Miss Marvel's dad asking for a snack as he's trying to break in, as he's being ordered to open the vault. They're robbing a bank. That's the whole point of the episode. And he is taking his time opening the. Why didn't he just grab his rifle, smack him in the nose, shoot him in the knee? Oh, because it's Miss Marvel's dad. He's an important character. We know that as an audience, but they shouldn't. Why are they treating him like with a certain reverence or respect? Really? Like, that's the whole point. Like, I hate when this happens in cinema, in film, in television, is when just because we know that there's a plot or a person important within the story doesn't mean that they need to know. It's so dumb. It drives me crazy. To me, these last 2 episodes, 5 and 6, have kind of proven that this show, the writers for the show, and anybody in charge, whoever that may be, still do not understand the characters. They don't understand the Netflix series. The just I feel like they've done is read cliff notes. Like they saw a couple of YouTube videos that some fans made. They read some cliff notes, and you know they just, oh, okay, that's why they like, they like dark and gritty. Okay, okay, we get it. But they never took the time to actually understand, not just understood the characters, but understood why we enjoyed the Netflix series, why we enjoyed the characters themselves is deeper. So I can tell they didn't even go into that aspect of it. Uh, they just went with what the almost like, let's see what the mob mentality wants, and that's what we're gonna give them. It only works if you actually care about the content you're putting out there. That's a harsh statement, but I saw what I saw, and this is my opinion. And sometimes it works. The Sonic thing, that's a Sonic argument now in the current age. It's the mob cried out and they fixed Sonic, right? He looked better compared to what they were going to release initially. But in this case, it's like the opposite. They saw what the mob mentality wanted, and they just gave us dark and gritty, and yet it isn't dark and gritty because we got that kind of like funny episode in episode 5. I'm sorry, I keep calling it funny. That's what it was to me. And then they just want to go more dark and gritty, but they don't understand any of the of the reason, the essence of why we liked the Netflix series, why we liked, or like Daredevil in general. It's like these 6 episodes are so hit and miss. I like the first 4. Don't get me wrong. I made a video about them, but now 5 and 6 are putting the first 4 into woo. Now I'm starting to look at them differently by effect. Sorry, but that's just what they're doing, right? And I'm not liking this. I'm going to stick around, ladies and gents. I am going to stick around for the long haul. I'm going to watch the last 3 episodes. I'm hoping they can stick the landing. I am a little more doubtful now. I like to be an optimist, but how long can you stay optimistic? Especially when you start seeing things like this. Hey, if you guys liked the episodes, that's awesome. That's cool. This is just my opinion on my YouTube channel. And I have one more like kind of huge gripe that I need to get off my chest. Episode 6. It goes from episode 5 to episode 6, and episode 6 is supposed to be a very scary thing. It almost wants to give you the movie 7 with Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey as the serial killer. It gives you like vibes like that, right? So it's one of these serial killers. So you see where it bothers me, or I hope you see, where you're going from like this lighthearted type of, it's a bank robbery, and for some reason they decided to make it lighthearted, like jokey, and then you get to like this crazy serial killer episode with Muse, right? The guy drains blood off of people, and then he paints on New York City walls. The contrast is just crazy. But you get to that point. And what they're also doing with Wilson Fisk is they are showing us how he's going from Wilson Fisk to Kingpin. They're showing us Matt Murdock turning into Daredevil. One thing that bothered me about that too was, what are the odds that they both turn back into themselves, into their Kingpin Daredevil personas on the same night? What are the odds? That's a little nitpick, but I was just like, I was already rolling my eyes on a lot of this stuff, and that just made it worse. Matt Murdock, with all the buildup, the conversation he had with Wilson Fisk, and saying like, I'm not gonna be Daredevil anymore. if you stay in your lane, I'll stay in my lane. Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, all that. A whole over a year of not doing it for Foggy, for in respect to Foggy. Some young girl that he barely knows gives him a guilt trip. That alone was such a. I'm not knocking on the actors here. The actors, the actresses are doing a phenomenal job with the material they've been given. I think the young actress is doing a great job. Charlie Cox, everyone is doing a great job, but the writing is just not there. I'm sorry. Uh, that whole exchange between a lawyer Matt Murdock and this young kid who he barely knows, and she gives him this huge guilt trip. It just feels so. It it doesn't. There's no convincing that conversation would ever happen like that. Not to mention that there's all these dumb little things too that are driving me crazy. Let me explain. So with everything that Matt Murdock has gone through, some little kid goes missing. Not that, obviously that would be an important thing, but not to him necessarily. And that goes back to the reshoots. It just seems so choppy. Like you can tell that there was a story there. He should have known her better, and all of a sudden, like, why would he go? Why would he care that much? That kind of a thing. And he calls 911, and these are the little things that drive me crazy. The little things, right? He calls 911, and then he just hangs up. That's not how 911 works. Have you guys ever had any experience calling 911? They show up, and if they don't show up, they're going to question the call. That's like literally protocol. So what happened when he hung up? Are they going to go after the cell phone? And then the fact that he just says, you know, explicit, fuck it. That's how he reverts back to Daredevil. Just like that. Are you seriously telling me that he's just going to say F it? Ah, okay, fine. It's all, him saying that on screen shouts to me the writers can't figure out what to do, so they're making him say what they thought. Like, yeah, F it. Just put on the costume again. Just turn back to the Daredevil. We're stuck. We got lost. We don't know what we're doing. That's what it felt like. That's exactly what it felt like. What he said, and then don the costume back on, is exactly what the writers said when they were like, you know what, whatever. Let's just go. Let's go. Put him back in the costume. Oh, this is taking too long. the disrespect, whether they were trying to be disrespectful or not. Obviously, they weren't. I don't think they would be trying to be disrespectful, but that's what it felt like. It's like, really? So and back to the little things. Muse. I'm not a doctor. I was a medic in the army, but I was never a doctor. But when you extract blood from someone, which I've done, you just stick a small needle in their arm and then the blood comes out. You can extract it all day long. I don't know what this machine thing to the gut. What? What are you talking about? And again, if you're draining blood from somebody, I don't think CPR would revive someone. He pumps her heart. He gives her CPR, and she wakes up from being, I don't know, stuck with some kind of like knockout juice and being drained of blood. Who wrote this? Like, take a class on anatomy. Oh my god, it's just, yeah, it's so stupid. And then Matt Murdock's whole thing was it is his hearing, right? He can hear a heartbeat miles away or whatever. Insert your own take on his hearing, his super hearing. He looks back, and Muse is gone. You can argue that, like, well, he was paying attention to the girl. Yeah, but he's not Batman. Mew's just done. He busted a magician. Like he's just gone. And I get what they were going for, but man, did it not land. Like none of this landed. None of this landed. The most frustrating part about this is that I get what they were trying to do, and knowing what they were trying to do makes it worse because none of it stuck the landing. None of it. It was these last two episodes were the most frustrating episodes so far. I hope they stick the landing. I don't know if they will. The only time we actually got to see Daredevil, like on the rooftops, was like 3 seconds. I don't mind the timing, but if all you're going to give us is 3 seconds of Daredevil on a rooftop, after he's donned the costume again, can you not make it look like a cartoon? Really? That's all the CGI you need to add, and that's okay. I'm done. For the record, ladies and gents, I watched this twice. The first time I watched it, I really couldn't believe what I was watching. It just frustrated me. So when I watched it a second time, I was out for blood because I was nitpicking and tearing it apart, admittedly, because I was like, what is going on here? What happened? Why are we watching this? What is this? What happened? The correct term is, and I'm going to put it in words here. Let me go ahead and record flabbergasted. I was caught off guard by this. I thought it was going a certain way and it just went off the rails. At least I think it just went off the rails these last two episodes. Wilson Fisk laughing and the way he was disrespected by that one. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know what they're doing. As I said at the beginning of the video, this story is all over the place now. I have no clue. I can't even speculate on what may happen because I don't know what's happening. Wilson Fisk reacting the way he did to Mew's serial killings. You're Kingpin. You've done worse. Why are you shocked at that? What was the direction? Who directed this? Like why did he react that way? It just doesn't make any sense to the characters. Again, to say and repeat over and over again, whoever wrote this, everyone involved, it just seems like they just read some cliff notes. They just watched the YouTube video and they just wanted to capture the essence of it, like not necessarily understand anything, but just say, okay, I get it. All right, let's go. And that's what happened here. They're trying so hard to be cool or to be with the in crowd, to be gritty, to be like, hey, you guys like this over here, huh? Like, we're going to show it to you over here too. It's not working. It's just not working. That's it for this video before I make it much longer. Wait till I do a Star Wars video. Wait till I do my gripes and venting on Star Wars. You guys will be in for a good one on that one. But that is it for this video. As always, collect what you love and love what you collect. I'll see you guys in the next one.